Okay, so just a quick Paumiko Q&A here. Shane, I've got your question. Hi Paul, question is to introduce pups to traffic noise. I have an 11-week-old Australian Coolie that we've had for 1 week that shows fear while on the long line in the front yard when cars are going past. Tends to pull back on the long line and try to go to backyard. This week I put her in her crate when pulling weeds out the front. She showed a bit of fear first up but settled down quickly. However, next time on the long line, she was still showing fear. Do I continue with the crate out the front as I don't want her to associate long line with pressure in cars? Okay, so this one, it's sort of, I can answer it specifically to this situation where how the dog is showing fear to the car. But it's the same sort of principles that really go with any type of introduction or any time a dog showing fear towards certain things. I call it non-avoidance training. So we're trying to train a pup or dog to not be scared of or try to avoid things that we don't want them to be scared of. It's really non-avoidance training, confidence training, and any time we're trying to deal with what is or sort of could turn into a fear or phobia. So you're saying shows fear while on the long line. She settled down in the crate. You're saying this week I put her in the crate when pulling weeds at the front. She showed a bit of fear first up but settled down quickly. However, next time on the long line she was showing fear. So one of the biggest things with this type of thing is, and one really common place where people go wrong with it is when the pup or dog begins to show fear towards something. This is something I've talked about in other Q&As, but we'll go over it again, is where when the pup or dog starts to show fear towards something, people start to try and reassure the pup or dog. And they start to say, it's okay, good dog. Or even it could be as something as simple as your body language and tone of voice changing. Or even as simple as looking down and every time a car comes past, you look at your dog wondering, is it going to be scared of this car that's coming past? And you can start to feed into it and act differently in that situation, which starts feeding into your dog, and you start bouncing backwards and forwards between each other, and the whole thing just gets worse and worse. And in this situation, how you're saying when you put her in the crate, she relaxed after a while, but then when you went back on the long line, you started to have trouble again. So for me, it comes back to the principles of putting pressure on what you don't want and praise on what you do want. That's one big thing. So if anything, if when your pup pulls on the long line or starts to be scared when a car comes past, I wouldn't go, it's all right, good girl, it's all right with that whole tone, because that, it's all right, good dog, you're trying to reassure the dog, but the dog can, especially a young pup or even an older dog, because they can't reason and rationalize, they don't think, the boss is saying, it's okay, good dog, so it means that there's no danger here. The pup or dog can actually take that as praise for being scared in that situation. Like, good dog, be scared. I think pretty sure we actually talk about that in the Paumiko Dog Guide. So it's very important that you're not doing that. Really, really important. So if anything, it's the opposite. If you're just cruising around in the front yard with your pup and everything's all good, and then a car goes past and the pup gets scared and runs out to the end of the long line, is pulling on the long line scared, if anything, it's actually a command disapproval. No, come here, and bit of pressure on the long line, pull it back in, try to release that pressure and get the pup to relax. And if it tries to run away, you go, no, and pull it back in. Pressure on what you don't want. You don't want your pup or dog to be scared. So you actually put pressure on it while it's being scared. And you're trying to snap it out of it. And then in that situation, you could pull the pup back in, pressure on, no, come here, no. And then as soon as it's with you, even put a hand around it. So now you're holding it, release the pressure on the long line, try to get eye contact, try to even hold the dog, hold it under the chin, get it looking at you. And as it starts to relax, or as it starts to take focus off the car, as it stops trying to pull away, then you start giving it a pat. So that whole thing is huge. Actually putting a bit of pressure on them, trying to snap them out of it. As they relax, then you start giving them praise. There's that. And then the other huge part of it is trying to keep your body language very, very relaxed at the same time. And every time your dog starts getting scared of something, not feeding into it, not looking to it, not reacting to it, just keeping your body language very, very relaxed. And really, if you put those things into practice, it shouldn't get worse. And it's interesting how the dog got better in the crate while you were pulling weeds, because you were probably doing something else and thought, I'll just leave it and let it deal with it in the crate and just not sort of butt in or react or do anything. And the dog calmed down and relaxed in the crate. But then once it was on the long line, and Shane's saying, cool, that's basically what we've been doing. So has it been getting any better or any worse, Shane? Also, if you're in this early stage, if you are stuck in one place in the front yard, that'll make it harder too. Something like that, if say you're on your first couple of trips out with a young pup and you're walking along and something, a car goes past and scares it, or another dog comes past and scares it, one of the best things to do is just keep all your body language super relaxed and just keep moving, just keep walking. Move the dog away from it. Take absolutely no notice of it yourself. If the pup or dog tries to pull away or run away from it or stop or do anything, just say no, command disapproval, bit of pressure on it, and just little tug on the leash or long line and just keep relaxed and walking right on past. And usually you do that 3 or 4 times, and the next car that goes past or the dog that comes past, the dog will just know that we're not taking notice of that, and will just keep moving on. But yeah, that's my take on that. If you just keep working on that stuff, Shane, I'm sure it'll smooth itself out. And that's it. That's it for this Q&A. Just a quick one here on Paumiko. There's only the one question. If anyone else has got any other questions, we're happy to answer them and try to get the ball rolling on these Paumiko Q&As a bit better. Shane just commented, much more relaxed, sitting down and had visitors, no sign of fear. That's good, man. Yep. Cool, everyone. So we'll post this up and we'll put a new Q&A post up, and you can ask your questions on that. Cheers, guys. We'll see you later.